wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just like, just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. You know, it is what it is.
Why are WNBA old heads doing everything they can to tear Caitlin Clark down? Why is the most marketable star women's basketball has ever seen being targeted on and off the court? Is the league's own jealousy about to ruin the biggest opportunity in its history?
Some of the underlying social things around a white player and a black player. Yep. Like you're seeing a little bit of that with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Because let's be real, Queen Caitlin is the only player in WNBA history who sells out NBA arenas. The only player whose trading card is worth more than her entire contract. From cheap shots on the court to salty interviews off it, the jealousy is louder than ever. This isn't just hazing a player, this is a full-blown campaign to break her down before she takes the league over.
You're right, she's not one of the 12 best. And on top of that, I think they did her a disservice by naming her early on like she was part of the top 15 or 20.
Draft night wasn't suspense, it wasn't drama, it was a coronation. Caitlin Clark was being crowned. The Indiana Fever didn't draft a rookie, they drafted a movement. The cameras, the sponsors, the headlines, they were all there for one person. And the hype, it wasn't smoke, it turned into fire. Her very first WNBA game pulled in 2.1 million viewers, the most watched game in over 2 decades. Every arena she walked into, packed. Jersey sales through the roof. She wasn't just a promising rookie. This was the most marketable athlete women's sports has ever seen.
I was like, oh damn, I see it now. Like, you know,
right.
Like when you walk in and you don't even know who anybody is, and they just be like, yo, that's the best player in the country right there.
That's not hype. That's history. And it's not just basketball. The Queen is a celebrity crossover. She's doing talk shows, headlining magazine covers, showing up at NFL games, and even at the Masters. She isn't just a WNBA player, she's a mainstream superstar, and that's something women's basketball has never had before. Her preseason games outdrew NBA preseason games, MLB spring training, and even some NHL regular season matchups. Bigger crowds, bigger money, bigger spotlight. A WNBA preseason game was bigger than entire men's leagues. And that's why the jealousy started early. Because every WNBA star before her, from Breanna Stewart to Asia Wilson, spent years begging for attention, begging for money, begging for mainstream coverage. Then Caitlin Clark shows up, and overnight she's pulling numbers that make the NBA stop and take notice.
And she's fearless. No shot is a bad shot, and when you can shoot it as well as she can.
She wasn't just growing the league, she was eclipsing it. And that's when the jealousy in the locker rooms turned toxic and was about to explode in public. The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is the best thing that's ever happened to the WNBA. Diana Taurasi, a legend of the game, looked straight into the camera and said,
Reality is coming. There's levels to this thing. You're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Translation? She couldn't wait for Clark to fail. The problem? Reality came and it proved Taurasi wrong. Then there's Breanna Stewart. Instead of giving credit to the greatest scorer in NCAA history, she brushed it off. She needs a championship to be considered one of the greats. As if Clark carrying an underdog Iowa team to back-to-back title games isn't worth more than winning with a stacked UConn roster. Cheryl Swoops, she flat out lied.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that player said it.
Okay. That's nonsense. Clark dropped 3,951 points against the best defenders in college hoops. Records don't come with an asterisk just because you don't like the person holding them. Let's call it what it is. Jealousy. Pure, loud, and desperate. Not doubt, not critique, just jealousy. These players spent years begging for fans to show up. They said people didn't care about women's basketball. Then Caitlin Clark arrived and proved the fans were there all along. They just weren't there for them.
Doesn't matter if there's a hand in her face contesting. Look at that reaction.
Salty interviews were just the beginning. What they did on the court was way worse. If jealous interviews weren't enough, the WNBA vets decided to take it a step further by targeting Caitlin physically. Kennedy Carter body-checked her so hard in June that the clip went viral worldwide.
Well, there's still a bunch of buzz around that chest check that Caitlin Clark got from Sky forward Kennedy Carter. It was ruled a flagrant 1 foul after the game by the league.
Marina Mabrey shoved her straight to the floor with no call. Cheap shots, no whistles, and the league's pretending it's normal. Come on now. This isn't hazing of a WNBA player. This is a campaign, calculated, deliberate, designed to break her.
But it was a rough night for Caitlin Clark.
And Sophie Cunningham confirmed it. She admitted that back when she was on the Phoenix Mercury, teams literally had locker room discussions about teaching Caitlin Clark what the W is really about. In other words, rough her up, break her down, make her doubt if she belongs. Back in her rookie year, Caitlin Clark absorbed 20% of all flagrant fouls in the league.
I grew up with two brothers, and things were about very, very physical, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, whatever it was. So I'm definitely prepared for it.
1 out of every 5 flagrant fouls, all on her? Come on. No rookie in NBA history, not even LeBron, ever faced that kind of targeting. The result? For the first time in her career, after never missing a single game in college, Caitlin's been forced to sit. Quad strain, double groin injuries, a total of 14 games missed in her second season. That's not bad luck. That's the toll of getting blindsided night after night while referees stand by and watch. And the silence from the league? Deafening. Because if the refs actually protected her, it would prove the haters wrong. Instead, they've been letting the league's only real superstar get hacked, shoved, and bullied. All because the vets are too jealous to accept that she's the face of the WNBA. If you think Caitlin Clark deserves better, drop a Protect Clark in the comments. And while you're here, hit subscribe. At first, veterans tried to downplay Caitlin Clark. Then, they tried to bully her. But when none of it worked, reality smacked them in the face. Caitlin wasn't going anywhere. So the same players who rolled their eyes started chasing her spotlight. Suddenly, seasoned champions like DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard wanted to join Indiana. Not because the Fever were a super team, but because playing next to Clark meant relevance, attention, and money. Veterans who once sneered at the hype are now begging to ride shotgun. The league itself? They caved too. 41 of the Fever's 44 games were scheduled for national TV. The WNBA didn't just lean into the Caitlin Clark effect, they bet the entire season on it. Arenas couldn't keep up. Teams that normally played in front of 5,000 fans were suddenly moving games into NBA arenas. Because if Caitlin Clark came to town, demand tripled. One preseason exhibition in Iowa sold out 15,000 seats at an average of $650 a ticket. Do the math. That's nearly $10 million for a preseason game. At that price point, the haters had no choice but to shut up. The jealousy started to look ridiculous. So slowly, the tone shifted. Media outlets that once nitpicked every move now ran features about her leadership and Mamba mentality. Players who once threw shade now gave backhanded compliments, admitting she was good for the game. The same vets who wanted her to fail were suddenly trying to stand next to her, because everyone realized the same thing. When Caitlin Clark eats, the whole league eats. But deep down, the resentment never really left. And that's where things get explosive. Wild, right? And this is just the start. If you're still locked in, hit the like button so YouTube pushes this story to more fans who need to hear it. Caitlin Clark exposed the truth. For decades, WNBA stars told the world fans just didn't care about women's basketball. That no matter how great they were, the public would never show up. Then the Queen arrived, and millions of fans proved them wrong. The fans were there, they just weren't there for them. That's an ego hit most players will never recover from. But let's not get it twisted. She's not pulling millions of fans because of where she's from. She's doing it because she's the first star who can sell women's basketball just like the NBA. And no one's ever sold women's sports the way she has. Period. Which is why we've seen the jealousy dressed up as critiques, cheap shots, and excuses. The WNBA's future might not depend on Caitlin Clark at all. It might depend on how much jealousy they're willing to tolerate. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's Michael Jordan moment. She's the once-in-a-generation superstar who could take the league mainstream, triple salaries, and finally make women's basketball matter on a global scale.
Caitlin Clark spazzed on the referee last night, and I'm not mad about it. I see a lot of the haters talking about, oh, she be doing too much with the man. Mind your business.
Here's the scary part. The league might blow it. Not because of Caitlin, not because of the fans, but because too many of its own players are more focused on jealousy than opportunity. The choice is simple. Embrace the Caitlin Clark effect or kill the golden goose out of pride. So what do you think? Is the WNBA ready to embrace its Jordan moment, or will jealousy destroy the biggest opportunity in league history? Let me know in the comments. We'll see you next time.